Hello, and welcome back to Picks and Portraits. Welcome back to the Media Graveyard, where we look at media trends and traditions from the past. Today, we're going to be digging up some schlocky 80s goodness and revisiting the days of early video distribution. We're going to be looking at different distributors' histories, what sort of movies they released, their fantastic logos. Depending on your age, you may recognize a lot of these by logo alone. Some pretty classic stuff here. Before we get into that though, this video and every video on this channel, including Sleepcore, was made possible by our patrons over at patreon.com/picksandportraits. We do not run ads. We are 100% viewer supported, and in exchange we offer a ton of exclusive content. So if you like what we do and have the means, please consider supporting us, patreon.com/picksandportraits. So with that plug out of the way, let's start all the way back in 1977 with The Nostalgia Merchant, which sounds like a YouTube channel. This was founded by record producer Snuff Garrett. Throughout the 70s and 80s, Garrett produced songs by some pretty prominent artists like Sonny and Cher and Nancy Sinatra. Garrett was ahead of the curve in terms of the home video market. In the late 70s, home video was still extremely novel, and in 1976, Garrett apparently got a very good deal on the rights to some classic Hollywood films from RKO, Republic Pictures, and Hal Roach. This is what formed the Nostalgia Merchant catalog, with releases including Citizen Kane, Laurel and Hardy shorts, King Kong. Being an early adapter allowed Garrett to get a foothold in the industry, and by 1980, the Nostalgia Merchant was pulling in over $2 million a year in revenue. I know, this is called the Media Graveyard, and pretty much every other distributor we're going to be looking at is now defunct. Physical media is largely a thing of the past, but the Nostalgia Merchant actually still exists under the name My Video Classics, continuing to release classic Hollywood films, as well as radio recordings, stuff from the public domain, on home video, which is pretty impressive considering they started in 1977. Up next, we have VidAmerica, founded in 1979. If you have watched any of our other videos on home video, or if you lived it, you know just how expensive tapes were early on. That's why rental was so widely embraced. VidAmerica was one of the first distributors to offer video by mail rental. Customers could rent tapes for 7 days for between $9.95 and $13.95, depending on the movie. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $40 to $56 today for one movie in 2022. Pretty wild. I found this promo that would have ran on the end of a tape after the movie that gives a fascinating look into how video by mail functioned. This advertises their program guide, which was sent out 6 times a year, worked like any other mail order catalog. We see packaging instructions for returning the tapes as well. Apparently, it did not run the smoothest, and many tapes went missing in the mail, or were just kept by the renter. In terms of what they were putting out, early on, VidAmerica distributed films from United Artists, as well as special interest videos, adult films. In 1983, VidAmerica signed a deal to have their releases distributed and marketed in the US by Vestron Video, which was founded 2 years earlier. Vestron was one of the most popular early distributors. Anyone who was into horror movies in the 80s and 90s should recognize this logo. They released a lot of B-movies, a ton of schlocky horror, titles from Studio Cannon Films, which is synonymous with low-budget cheese. Some of these films did receive a theatrical release, but many truly reached their audience on home video, VHS. The term video nasty was coined in the early 80s by a UK special interest group to describe some of the films Vestron was releasing. Films released on video were not subject to the same rating policies as those released in cinemas, and so the content on video could push the boundaries further than that was released in theaters. This meant more sex, more violence. Before the internet and media accessibility, one of the few places you could see this sort of content, especially if you lived outside of a major city, was on video. Vestron thrived. It had a lot of subsidiaries, like Lightning Video, which cater more towards genre film, more often than not horror, even lower budget horror. From the mid-80s, Vestron was a publicly traded company. They were also a movie studio from 1986 to 1990, probably best known for producing Dirty Dancing, which we talked about in our movie soundtrack video. Very different than the sort of content they're remembered for. Despite this success, Vestron filed for bankruptcy in late 1990. A few factors contributed to this. Film production is expensive, and while Dirty Dancing was a hit, the television show it spawned was not. A ton of money was being spent, not only on their productions, but also acquiring rights. When home video was more niche, the rights were cheaper, but by the late 80s, early 90s, home video was becoming more popular, and studios saw they could ask for more money for home video rights, or just release their films themselves, and have their own distribution division. Vestron was sold in 1991 to Live Entertainment, which itself would be acquired a couple of times before finally being sold to Lionsgate in 2003. The Vestron name would be brought back in 2016 by Lionsgate for their line of special edition physical releases, DVD and Blu-ray, their answer to Show Factory's Scream Factory, basically. A lot of the films they've released were originally distributed by Vestron, or one of their many subsidiaries, with a focus on horror. Continuing on the theme of horror, we have Wizard Video, founded in the early 80s by producer-director Charles Band. Again, before the internet, where you could look up reviews or trailers, video relied heavily on posters or cover illustrations for marketing to sell the films to viewers browsing video store aisles. Wizard created some very provocative cover art for the films they distributed. These covers were sometimes the best part of these movies. Well, I do have an affection for them. Some of these are hard to sit through, quality and production-wise. Wizard's releases also stood out because they came in oversized boxes. In addition to horror, they also released films by John Waters and a couple of games, even, for the Atari 2600, adaptations of Halloween and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Video distribution is kind of complicated. There was a lot of collaborating amongst distributors. One company acquires the rights, the other markets or takes care of the physical production, shipping, order fulfillment. As far as I've been able to find, Wizard began as a subsidiary of Empire International Pictures, Charles Band's theatrical distribution company. Band had also founded Media Home Entertainment in the late 70s, which at one point bought out the Nostalgia Merchant. Empire also distributed films through their labels, Force Video and Cult Video. Lightning, the Vestron subsidiary mentioned earlier, also distributed Wizard's releases at one point. Rights changed hands, so yeah, kind of all over the place. Empire International Pictures and its various video labels folded in 1988, but Wizard resurfaced, in a way, in 2013. That year, it was reported a large quantity of unused Wizard boxes was discovered. Again, Wizard was known for their boxes, the art. They became collectible, given many didn't survive the decades, and so Wizard began selling these newly unearthed ones to fans. However, there were allegations that these boxes were not authentic, like the company claimed, but instead recently printed reproductions. Charles Band denied this, and if you want to read up more on this, I will post a link in the description to an article, as well as some videos from that time. Pretty interesting stuff. We are going to be wrapping things up with a little bit of anime, Streamline Pictures. Streamline was founded in 1988 by producer Carl Masek and animation historians Fred Patton and Jerry Beck. Whether they knew it or not, American audiences in the 80s were familiar with anime. We've talked before about the different Japanese studios that produced animation for America, dating all the way back to the 60s. But more than Toonami or Adult Swim, Streamline deserves credit for really bringing anime into the American consciousness. From Akira to Gogol 13, Fist of the North Star, Wicked City, Dirty Pair, Miyazaki movies, Streamline licensed, localized, and dubbed several anime from the 1980s. These were marketed to adult animation aficionados. Streamline made anime a lot more accessible through dubbing, which I know is controversial, but this really opened the gates for anime to reach Western audiences. Since the company folded in the early 2000s, the rights to the films they released either reverted back to the original studios who produced them, or were acquired and released by another distributor, like ADV or Central Park Media. And yeah, that's about it for today. Now, this was not meant to be exhaustive, so let me know what I missed. There was plenty of stuff here, many companies overlooked, so I'd love to revisit this topic sometime again in the future. If you want to see more on early home video, we have a ton of content on rental history, regular history. Check those videos out. Again, if you can, please consider supporting us, patreon.com/picsandportraits. Also, come join us over on Discord. I will post a link in the description. This is a casual place to share and discuss different themes of the channel, like sleepcore, nostalgia, animation. Link in description. Like, share, subscribe. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.